I didn't doubt you can go hard, but like we've discussed, the difference between 3 minutes and 2:34, while it doesn't sound like a lot, 26 seconds in a 3 minute workout is devastating.
That was what it felt like. It was now. So there was a couple things that I used to my advantage, right? So, and if you didn't watch the video, watch it. I talk about a lot of that. So I did for sure do an extensive warm up. Like I was just petrified. I was basically just wasting time. But I knew I was like, hey, if I'm really gonna go fast, I need to move well, right? So I basically really wanted to get my hips ready to go, hips, knees, ankles, so that the squat was the easy portion, right? Pull-ups are kind of my jam. I don't need to do a ton of work there. I've just got 12 years of doing pull-ups and CrossFit under my belt. That's what falls in my wheelhouse, and thrusters kind of do too. But the squat was what I was worried about. I want to make sure my legs were ready to go, that my positions were good, so I could just move well, right? It doesn't mean I move perfectly, but I wanted to move well for me. The other thing that I did really quickly, and I put this in the video too, is I just touched a heavy thruster. Not intended to be a heavy day. This was intended to literally aid the Metcon portion of it, right? So this was not a strength portion. This was like I hit like 135, 165, 85, 205, and I was done. That was it. I just wanted to make the 95 feel really light so that I could push and pull. And then experience was the last thing, which was if I knew if I could push the pace, I could largely get ahead of the pain. Right. So 3 minutes is roughly where that's really going to start to kick in. I knew if I could get there prior to that, I would be okay. Now, that's not going to mitigate what happens after that, but I was like, I'll deal with it afterwards. But I knew if I could get there in under 3 minutes, or I knew if I could, and I put this in the video, I knew if I could get through the 15 at the 2 minute mark, and I'm pretty sure I did it in exactly 2 minutes, I would be able to suck it up. However, I almost missed the pull-up bar when I jumped on the 9. Like I couldn't jump 4 inches to get there, and my grip was smoked. Like I almost came off on the pull-ups for 9.
Yeah, going back to what you said about getting ahead of the pain, that's kind of a reference I've told people. In my best ever Fran, I think was 2:46. That's what I told people. It's like you're running and you're just trying to stay ahead of it because it'll catch you after. It's like a sprint on the assault bike.
Right.
If you can finish before the lactic acid starts to just flow through, and that's why we've all done those workouts where you're like, I'm fine. And then all of a sudden you're like, I'm not fine.
I was definitely not fine afterwards.
Yeah, and you threw up.
Yeah, which is, again, that wasn't to be dramatic. Like that was the first time I've done that, and I didn't enjoy it. I don't recommend it. It was white girl wasted vomit. Like it was just like, maybe it was a little bit too much pre-workout beforehand, but I didn't even drink a full thing. It was just rough.
It was one of those the room is spinning type of feelings.
It was just like I knew it was coming, and I was trying to hold it off, and at some point I was just like, this is gonna happen. Like let's just do it.
Well, that's just your body rejecting what you just did to it. Like,
what's that? It's lactic acid buildup in your stomach, right? It's just like it eventually will pool in your stomach, and then your body's like, we should get rid of this.
Was that the hardest you've worked out in a significant amount of time?
Years.
So when you do something like that, and you realize, wow, like, what is your best ever, Fran?
2:19. So was that 15 or 17 seconds off? Is that right?
Right. 15 seconds off. So, I mean, and you're training more and harder. When you do that at 2:34 and you're like, I still got it. Like that's a 99th percentile Fran time.
And I tell you this, watching the video, I actually know exactly where I could get those seconds. I was watching
where would it be?
The pull-ups, but now in hindsight, I was using the pull-ups to catch my breath. But I was just trying to slow down a little bit. If I was going to bump that up again, I would get on the pull-ups and I would cycle those way faster because I can. Like I would have been screaming through the pull-ups.
And like you said, you're just getting ahead of the pain anyway.
Yeah.
So when you do something like that, does it motivate you to say, why don't I train like that more often? Or is it like, I don't ever want to feel like that?
It's probably a mix of both. It's probably a revalidation of things that we've talked about here, is that like as fit as I may not feel at 40, kind of training semi irregularly, it's still there. Right. And this is for everybody. It's just we live in this bubble in CrossFit that we have this completely unrealistic expectation for what fitness should be or should act or really looks like, not realizing that most people walking around that can do a 4-minute Fran are probably the fittest people in most rooms. So for there, I'm just like, I'm good. Like I've got the capacity that I need in the event some crazy shit goes down and I need to do what I need to do. But down the middle is just like, hey, I should train a little bit harder, but not to that extent. Like there's no need for me to do that to myself.